If someone's like, hey, let's just maybe not even the new person. Let's speak to the person that's doing halfway decent, and they're like, holy freak, how does somebody go from 0 to 7 figures in insurance in after torching, 0 to 7 figures in 85 days? If they're doing well and they want to have explosive growth and get there way faster, they think, I've got to do way more. What's your thoughts on how you did it? What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and we are in Scottsdale, Arizona at our business planning retreat with our power players. I absolutely love this country club for agents and agencies. If you haven't learned more about it, you got to check out Power Players at CodyAskins.com. I'm also always looking for impressive guests that are a part of our power players that have done something special. This gentleman I'm about to bring on was on several months back. And we talked about his story, but I wanted to bring him back on because of the success he's been having in such a short amount of time. So here's what's really cool, okay? It's from the Price Group, David Price. However, he went from 15 million, burned it all down, went to 0, boom, overnight, and then back to 7 figures in 85 days. And we're here today to find out, why'd you do it and how'd you do it?
Man, those are great questions.
Welcome back.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for the introduction, man. Dude, this event's been amazing.
Thank you.
I think the next Power Players event's gonna have twice as many people because of just sharing it with everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so why did I do it? First off is, I wanted to give agents, I felt like there was a need in the marketplace for like where new agents could thrive. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that was really missing. The focus wasn't there. So I wanted to give new agents a better opportunity. And how I did it, is simple, right? SEAL Team 6 standards, I call it, right? And we don't hire every single person, right? We want to hire people that want to be part of the culture. We want to hire people that are committed. We want to hire full-time people. So I'm real strict on who we're bringing into our organization now. Auditing, right? So we want to make sure that we're always looking at data points and we're looking to improve the data points. We don't want to be like, all right, cool. Like this is our lead, this is our sales, and that's that, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. How many leads went out? What's the cost to acquire a client? Are the agents making money? Are the average agents making money? So that's the difference thing I'm doing. So a lot of times people are like looking at the agents on the top and they're highlighting them. I'm in the middle. I'm like looking at these average agents and like, cool, will the average agent here survive? Like I want the average agent to be able to make 6 figures, right? Huge difference. And then leads, right? Obviously you've been having great success with CABOOM and your lead program.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know how important leads are, right? So my goal is to have the most highest quality leads possible for our agents. And the difference between me and somebody else is like my focus is on the agents, right? People are always looking to purchase leads from us. They're hearing the success agents having, but like my focus is on our agents. I don't want to get sidetracked because I'm not in the business to sell leads, right?
Yes.
That's your job,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I'm in the business to help agents. You are too, but my agents
in a different way,
in a different way. So I think putting that stuff all together, building a winning culture, high standards, auditing, measuring, make sure you have the best leads, and then also partner with the top carriers in the country, right? So it's like you have people looking for insurance. You could offer them the best insurance, and you got the best agents doing it, man. So it's just a winning combination.
Let's go, bro. That's really cool. And first off, congrats on rebuilding, because I know it had to be terrifying. And we talked through a lot of that on the last episode. If you guys did not see the last podcast, it was several months back in my office from Puerto Rico to Springfield, and this time from Puerto Rico to Scottsdale, a little more better location. You talked about newer agents quite a bit. Obviously you have top producing agencies, different things, right? And if as you guys hear some stuff, you may hear a little background noise because we got power players hanging out the big freaking house for the retreat, and we got planes flying over us, which is so cool. I kind of want to do this more often. Let us know in comments below if you think we should do more like on-site location interviews and if you like this setup. But you talk a lot about new agents, and you help other agents too, but why is that important to you? Because there's a lot of people that it's not about the new agents.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. So I realized that if you make the new agent that's just getting started your priority, if you can figure out how to help them win, everyone wins. And again, what I've noticed is a lot of other companies, what was happening is the people on the top were eating, right? And they're doing well, right? And maybe that company started a while ago. Maybe that was different at a certain point. But like right now, my focus is on how do I help the new agent be successful that's committed, right? If you're not committed, I can't help you. But if I know someone that's fully committed, that's going to put the time in and be coachable, like that person needs to thrive. And when I say thrive, that average agent should be to be a six-figure earner.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just really focusing on that, looking at those numbers, not just focusing on here's the number one agent last month. Like that's great, and we have those, and everyone has a number one agent, right? But like, cool. Let's dig deeper now and find that person, help that person rise.
That makes a ton of sense too that you say that, because we all see it. You guys can understand this and attest to this. Like when you see that and you think, okay, this is their number one agent. There is, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, there's a big percentage of the industry that thinks, I don't know if I can actually be that person yet. And I don't know that if it helps or hurts, you know what I mean, from a psychology standpoint.
I wonder that too. I go back and forth on leaderboards and stuff like that. I think they're super cool, but I also think they might deflate some people. And one thing, so you look at the average agent AP, and typically in a larger agency, that's going to be about 3,000. So right now our average agent AP is about 8,500. So almost 300% more, right?
Every month?
Monthly.
Yeah. That was December of.
Yeah, that was December. That was last month.
24.
Yeah, that was literally last month.
We
right?
walked through a bunch of numbers, very transparent. And I was impressed by that specific number.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Yeah, I was impressed when I saw it too. I was like, it's working, right?
Cool.
So that was cool. And then you got to think too. So like, what's the next problem agents have, or what's the next problem builders have? I can't get people to stay. People don't stick. People don't want to work, right? Again, when you build a system that the newer agent could survive, is it going to be easier to build a business or harder? Right. Obviously, It's going to be a lot easier because you have a system that when you bring people in, they have a better chance of success. Obviously, It's not guaranteed 100% success, but we're doing a pretty damn good job right now.
Yeah, and that's true too. If you think about it, like the average agent is succeeding right now.
Yeah,
which has got to be that's a big
8,500, right? 8,500 months. That's success.
That's $100,000.
Yeah,
a little more, right? That's exciting. 33 per month, right? Is the what you need to be at. You also talked about standards, right? And you mentioned some stuff. Was that always a focus for you from an agency standpoint, or is that something that you learned along the way that when you got a chance to rebuild, you wanted to do it different?
100%. So I used to give anyone a chance, part-time, full-time. And don't get me wrong, there's still certain part-time people we will give a chance, but it's going to have another layer of questions, because a lot of times people want to be part-time, but then they don't actually have time to work, right? So there has to be some time. You have to be a sometime agent, basically.
At least.
But yeah, I used to give almost everyone a chance. And what happened is the people that really wanted it, the other ones that didn't really want it would take away from them, right? So my focus is on the ones that want it, the people that are willing to put the work in, the ones that are coachable. So our interview process got a lot more intense. You're going to have minimum 2 interviews before you get hired. So before it was just a fast interview. You got an insurance license, you want to work, here you go, right? Now it's going to be a lot stricter. So yeah, completely changed my whole, and I used to tell people, hire everyone, right? And that's part of growth. A lot of things that I say now might contradict things I said in the past, right? But guess what? Like, that's part of growing, that's part of learning, new experiences, right? You should change. You shouldn't always be saying the same thing. Hopefully, right? Hopefully you should be growing and learning.
Yep, true. I feel like there's a bunch of agents that's there is it's almost like a plateau to a degree, because if you think through, like, we would all agree we need to constantly be learning. I feel like, dude, I'll be honest, I feel like Cody Askins plateaued a little bit in 2023. It was not a great year for me. Sure, did I have some business challenges? Yeah, but 2020 up until 2020 through 2022, dude, we were just freaking moving and going. And it's crazy because when there's momentum and good things are happening, you gain so much confidence and excitement. And then when things are not going so well, it can just throw so many things off. How important is momentum, and if someone doesn't have it, how do they get it back?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So that's actually part of the reason you and I met in the first place, right? So like I was at a spot where I was, I was doing well,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
but I started slowing down, and I realized that. So I got to mix it up, right? So that's why started doing some things with you, started getting around some more people, joined Power Players,
Yep.
started doing a lot of things to expand my mind. I mean, these couple days, actually, I spent almost a week in Arizona,
cool.
half the time with you.
You're gonna be here longer than me. Yeah.
That's it. It sounds like I'm gonna have a problem getting out of here too. So lucky Puerto Rico's not that far,
We
right?
just gotta buy a jet
That's it.
together
Just
at some point.
Just gotta take a boat. So it's just like when you find that spot, like you have to find something that's a massive change. Last year I joined a different mastermind. So I'm just always before it happens. Like I don't want to lose momentum.
How do you
'cause it's so
spot
hard
it? Because to your point, you do to get different results. You have to do something different.
Yes. So for me, the way I spot it is when I have a little extra time on my hands. When I start feeling like I have a little extra time and a little bit extra mental energy on my hands,
That's
something's
such a good
wrong.
answer. I literally thought that recently. Such a good answer.
Yeah. Like when all of a sudden I was like, when I start feeling a little relaxed, that's what it's like. It's time to mix things up, get a little uncomfortable.
Huh, that's cool. What are some standards that you've implemented that to help with culture and commitment level of people that you're looking to help? Because you want to help everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, we both do. You guys do too that are watching, right? We would hope so. However, if culture is important, you can't work with everyone, even though you want to help everyone.
Yeah, so I created a Facebook group for that, right? So anyone's invited to our We Are Insurance Agents Facebook group.
Nice.
You go to weareinsuranceagents.com to find it through our website.
Easy.
Or you just search in Facebook, We Are Insurance Agents. So in there, I do trainings once a week. Anyone's invited. It's a no recruiting zone, right? So it's a safe place to go.
Cool.
I mod it very hard, so no bashing. No companies are allowed to be bashed in there, so I won't let any of that happen.
What was that starting to happen a little bit initially when you first created the group?
Yeah, I mean, people try. Right now it's real strict on approving new posts. So
Good.
if I see a post where they're bashing a company, it won't even get approved.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I don't have to,
Smart.
So I just want to be proactive with that. But I want a safe place that anyone, because I want to level people up. Because the people that aren't committed, they're not committed because they don't believe. And I was that person, right? Like, I remember I thought if I made $70,000 a year, I made it in life. And I remember finally like getting a job offer for $70,000 a year and literally calling my ex-girlfriend and saying, I got a job for $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
I made it. My exact words, like,
Which in the world is pretty good. Yeah.
but again, like that was my mindset where it was,
Yes.
right? And someone's mindset might be $30,000 a year, or maybe I can't make any money or something like that. So I don't want to like eliminate them and not give them a chance to work with me.
Sure.
I want to be able to figure out another way I could build them out, build their confidence up, change their mindset, plug them into some good people, maybe let them see like what's possible. Because for me, I grew up on government assistance, but like when I went to my grandparents' house, like they'd lived well. So like I was like, oh, okay. So that's what life can be like, right? And I wonder like what my life would have been like if I've never seen that. Because I might have been like, no, living in the projects on government assistance, that's just normal because that's the only thing I've been exposed to, right? So that's the thing. I want to expose people to greatness and hopefully lift up their standards where then eventually they can get to the point where they apply, work with me and continue to grow.
Yeah, smart. You talked about. I love the. And I think you mentioned this before. I just don't think I heard it. Like I think it happens a lot when we're in conversations. Like somebody can say the same thing 14 times. I may only catch the gold the 9th time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens a lot. And then trust me, there are things that can be helping your business right now that I've said, that David said, other people have said on this podcast, other power players, other speakers, conferences, that maybe you missed. It was the one thing you needed, but maybe you were distracted and unfocused and you just missed it. You know what I mean? And so you just said, I was on living in the projects on government assistance, and then my grandparents were doing well. And that created exposure to you of a life that even though you didn't have and you weren't in it unless you visited it, you still had to go back. How hard was it to go back? And also how much seeing that and getting exposure to that start to open your mind to what could be someday?
Yeah. So the first part of the question, going back, I mean, it was like what I was used to, right? So I think that's again that's where people are. They're where they're used to, right? So that's why they don't even level up, because they don't even know they're supposed to level up, right? They don't even know they're supposed to try to be more, because they're just like stuck in that spot. So like that was my life. My life was, I mean, I had everything I needed, right? My mom was great. I love my mom. She did the best she can. She did an amazing job. Matter of fact, I actually think because of that is why I am who I am today, right? Because I learned the struggle. I learned to deal with adversity. I learned to deal with all these things at a young age. So that's why I know earlier, they're like, hey, is this hard? I'm like, dude, you kidding me? I'll tell you what hard is, right? Like I've been through hard. So for me, that was just normal. So that was it. So I just, my grandparents had money, right? So when I hung out with them, it was cool. They bought us school clothes sometimes. When I went there, we had 3 meals, and good meals, and they would take us out to dinner and different things, and vacations and stuff. But it was cool. So to exposed me to that. So going back, it was it didn't, at that time, it didn't mean anything to me. It was the norm.
It's cool. What if not cool but cool, right?
It's okay.
What did we feel sorry for you? What if someone he's if it made David Price who he is today,
That's it.
It was a blessing.
Absolutely.
And I think he's doing okay. He's living in Puerto Rico. He's saving a bunch of money in taxes. He's helping a bunch of agents. He's doing all right. But what if there's an agent watching that cannot relate to what you just shared? They can relate from the projects or the government assistance or the lack of money or not 3 meals or hand-me-downs, clothes, or bullying at school, whatever. Maybe they lost parents at a young age, like whatever life has thrown at them that at a young age they do not have control over.
No.
You do not get to choose who brings you into the world. You just don't.
Right.
I don't know if that's good or bad. But it's out of my hands. I know that. What if someone hasn't had the exposure that you at least had with your grandparents, that I had with my parents, because I saw them go from literally freaking broke, 700 square foot home in Arkansas, to 5,000 square feet. What if they don't have that exposure? Or do you think they've had it, they just didn't recognize it?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume if somebody's watching this, they want something different, right? So there's a couple ways for that, right? So it's one, a lot of people like to spend a lot of time on YouTube watching people and stuff like that, but like doing it all over again, right? Knowing what I know now, like I try to figure out how to put myself next to those people.
Yeah.
Right? Try to figure out how to, again, like, Power Players was an investment for me, but I'm hanging out with some people that are higher levels than me, right? I'm learning from them.
Sure.
I'm also learning from people that aren't, that maybe they're newer in the business I am, or haven't had the same success, right? So I'm always learning. So it's a matter of putting yourself around different people. And again, that's something I have to do, because I could stay home and grind and work all the time, but again, that's when that plateau starts happening. So I got to get myself out there. So, and provide value to the people, right? I think that's another mistake that people make, is like they want to take, right? Like, they're trying to sell you something. Like, it's like figure out how to provide value. And be someone that someone wants you around.
Yeah, too. And you're right, because if you think about it, like getting to the next level, we hear online that it's just about grinding. But you can grind yourself into doing the same thing and accomplishing the same thing. But we feel like, gosh, I'm working so hard. Why am I not getting ahead faster? What are ways that you have used specifically to get to that next level when you felt like you were in a rut, or you were plateauing, or it just wasn't growing like you wanted it to?
Yeah. So join a challenge. Sometimes just reading a book.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Sometimes just literally pick up a book and read a book. That every time I read a book, I'm like, I don't know why I don't read more.
100%. I just started Ultimate Power with Tony Robbins, and in the book it shares that like 90-something percent, around 90% of people that start a book never make it past the first chapter.
Insane. So cool. So be part of the 10% and finish the book, right? So like have that chip on your shoulder and be like, all right, cool. 9 out of 10 people can't even do this. And I'm going to do it, right? And like when you start having that mentality, and it's like people don't realize like, oh, because I'm reading a book, I'm going to be successful. No, but that's where it starts, right? That's where it starts. That's going to be the first habit.
Yep. How much is finishing a book in that example? Even if you're like, I don't like to read, I hate it, I've got ADHD, I have trouble focusing, I fall asleep, whatever. How much does that relate to actually doing what you say you're going to do and succeeding in this business. Because it's not about reading. Partially because of the knowledge. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that's the simplest thing. If I had one superpower, right? It's like, Dave, how do you make more agents successful? Or when people start, telling me that 92% of insurance agents fail, I say no, 92% of insurance agents don't try. Big difference, right? That's what it is. They're not trying. They're or maybe they think they're trying, right?
I think they think
they're not doing what they say they're going to do. Most of them aren't doing what they say they're going to do. And that's what it is. So it's like if I really wanted to have a superpower, it'd be like the ability to get someone to simply do what they say they're going to do.
It's funny how little these little things like you just talked about, right? Of like just do what you say you're going to do, or finish a book, or come to an event that you know about, join a challenge. It's amazing how pick up the phone, like these little things, watch a YouTube interview, these little things, write a goal, these little things can start to slowly change who you are and how you think.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a recovering drug addict, right? And like, I remember getting my life back together, like didn't own a car, overweight, face was around, smoking cigarettes, right? Nothing what you see now, but like what people don't realize, and they look at me and they see how I eat, how I exercise, the things I do for my health and well-being. Yeah. But like they don't realize like that started with a commitment to walk 15 minutes a day. That's what they don't realize. It started with a commitment not to drink soda, right? And then once I mastered not drinking soda and mastered walking 15 minutes a day, I did the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
That's how I started. Not drinking soda.
That's it. It's the best. It's the best start. Yeah.
It's crazy. You have also, gosh, we can talk forever. This is so freaking good. But you also have went from, if someone's like, hey, let's just maybe not even the new person. Let's speak to the person that's doing halfway decent, and they're like, holy freak, how does somebody go from 0 to 7 figures in insurance in after torching, 0 to 7 figures in 85 days? If they're doing well and they want to have explosive growth and get there way faster, they think, I've got to do way more. What's your thoughts on how you did it?
Yeah. So again, the thing that's helped me be successful is the new agents, helping the new agents be successful, right? Because the problem everyone has in this business is churn. Right, you hire a lot of agents. So I hired 10 agents, but only one of them went to work. Right. Well, imagine that you hire 10 agents, and half of them, let's just say half of them, let's say 8 of them actually did what they said they're gonna do, and they ordered leads the first week. Guess what? We did a poll the other day. We had 50 agents on a Zoom. I said, if you ordered leads, your first set of leads, and at least made one sale, raise your hand. Bunch of hands out. I was like, all right, let's do this easier. If you ordered your first set of leads and didn't make any sales, let me know right now. 100% of our agents made sales with their first set of leads. That's awesome. 100% of the people we polled. It was like 40, 50 agents, right? So like now imagine if you're trying to build a business and you have a system like that to plug them into, you're not going to lose agents right away, because literally you make one sale off your first 10 leads, you just covered your lead costs and you're profitable already. Yep. Right. So again, it's like just focus on a winning system. And then when the agents start seeing that and they're like, dude, these are the best leads I ever worked. I love these leads. Oh my goodness, these people knew exactly what they are. Or my favorite one, they called me. Right. So we have the lead set up where they actually call call into you. Right. So it's like, oh, this person called me. I wasn't planning on working, but they called me 10 o'clock on a Saturday and I answered the phone and it was a laydown. Right. So like when you start doing that, you're building that confidence for that agent from day one. And when you're building that confidence, like they're not going anywhere. Right. Because that's the deal. Like when you can teach an agent that if they purchase leads and go to work, they'll get their money back and make money. And they start realizing that, and you start getting text messages. Hey, I made $4 every dollar I spent, David. But I've been getting them all day today, right? Cool. Hey, I spent $1,000 and I got $4,000 back. I spent $1,500, I got $4,500 back. When you could do that, and then that message grows across all your agents, that's when you build something super special.
It's powerful. How much of success, right? Whether it's in your agency, whether it's CABOOM, whatever it is, how much of ordering leads in your first week or in the next week watching this, if you haven't, how much of what is it about doing that translates to, I mean, it's silly for me to ask, how does that translate into production? But how much of that determines future success for someone? And kind of in combination with that, if they go long periods of time without investing in their business, can you recover? Is that the method,
Yeah, so I mean, with the leads, right? I just think about like, what if I showed up to high school, right? And I go to class and they're just like, yeah, we're not going to give you any books. Like, how are you going to learn? Like, there's no books, no teaching. Like, you're just going to sit in class, right? That's what an insurance agent without leads. Like, you need the leads to learn.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, you need the leads to learn. So there's got to be a way to learn. And I think people get so caught up with like, will I make my money back with these leads? But people will pay for college courses, they'll pay for classes, they'll pay for all these things, which
without knowing they'll get a job.
They have no idea what they're going to get, right? Like when it's way better chance of getting some leads, making a sale. So it's super important to do that. And then if you're a business owner, I had someone asked me the other day, and they're actually today, and they said, hey, how do you grow an agency? How do you recruit agents? I was like, well, what are you doing now? Like, we're putting money together. I was like, well, how much are your leaders investing for recruiting? They're like, well, $100 a month. I was like, okay. And let me guess, they're very disappointed about the results they didn't have. And they want to be business owners, and they probably want to make $1 million, but they invested $100 in their business in a month. Is that true? And of course it was true, right? Yeah. So people, again, they have to be able to reinvest. Look at Amazon, Airbnb, Uber, right? Like all these companies like weren't profitable for like ever because they reinvested, right? I know you know about this, right? You reinvest. And like you should want to. You should want to. People will buy all these other things that make them no money.
Yes, they will.
Go buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot, you just lost $15,000, and like that's normal, that's okay. But you won't put $15,000 in your business for a year.
Yeah, it's a big difference. It's a big difference, right? Don't shoot the messenger. Hear the message. Okay, that's a good one. Also, I wanted to ask about quantity of leads because we were talking about leads, and literally, we just had 2 different people purchase 20 leads. Right? Both of these were 2 minutes ago. Okay, through CABOOM. What's interesting about that is though, we get a lot of people that just buy 20 leads. They just buy 20 leads. What is your opinion on the philosophy of lead quantity?
Yeah. So what I tell my agents, so I had one of my top producers, he's like, hey Dave, I spent $2,200. I made $12,000 with it. I'm like, freaking awesome. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
6X.
Yeah, that's super.
Bro.
That's great, right? And then he messaged me like a week later. He's like, hey, how do I know when to get leads again?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, bro, you should get new leads every week. I was like, you're a closer. Like once you know, that would be like, hey Cody, I got a deal for you. Every dollar you give me, I'm going to give you $6 back.
Yeah.
How many dollars do you want to give me? And you're like, 400. Like, Cody, that's it? Just 400?
I would find freaking $1 billion, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like you want to work, and people get so caught up too in like their first results. Like, oh yeah, I barely made my money back. Good, that was your first set of leads. That's a freaking win.
Yes.
My first set of leads, I didn't make any money back, right? Imagine I stopped there.
Yeah.
Right? We wouldn't get to hang out. Think about that. Wouldn't be in Arizona. Wouldn't be in Power Players. I would have missed everything. Wouldn't be going to Italy. Man, so pumped.
Yes.
But
sick.
But so that's it. So you got to get leads every single week. It's again like people come to this business. I want freedom. I want to make money. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my kids. But my investment in all of that is 20 leads.
Do you believe them when they're like, I'm doing this for my family?
I believe the ones that do it. The ones that do it.
You guys are gonna love that.
I've seen it. I've seen the ones like that did it for their family, that did sacrifice that first year, that was a single mom, that did get a babysitter, that spent a lot of times away from their children, that made $200,000 their first year in the business. That struggled, and guess what? They write their own ticket now. They spend all the time with their kids. They go to the best schools. They have everything they need, and they don't have to work like that anymore because they could do the same amount of production with way less work because now they built up the skill. And that's what people get so caught up in their current skill level. Listen, your skill level is not there. Like, don't worry about what your result on the leads are. Use the leads to increase your skill level. And then, you know what? Maybe you can spend $2,000 on leads and make $15,000 a month at some point. But like, that might be year 3, year 4.
No doubt.
But you won't get there with just ordering 20 leads and hoping it comes.
I can tell you this. When I was playing basketball, little Bible college, I did not get better just by watching film. I had to practice every now and then. I had to shoot free throws, actually. You know what I mean? Like that is what we were doing in this business. How does someone increase their belief in their ability to succeed if right now maybe they're in a dark place, or they're depressed, or they're, negative, whiny, they're always looking, they find the problem instead of the solution? How do they raise their belief that they can actually go do something really cool this year?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a dark place before, man. I've been bankrupt, struggled with drug addiction. I mean, I lost my car, lost everything. Jeez. Sleeping on people's couches, slept in cars before, right? So like, I've been there. And, for me, it was hanging around people that were a level higher than me. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it might have been someone with a home, right? And then my level goes up, right? So it's like, you want to put yourself around people that are another level. Books, again, like, reading books, expanding your mind. Like, if you keep doing the same exact thing, you will continue to be the same exact person, right? So real simple. So you got to figure out how to stretch. You got to figure out how to get uncomfortable, right? Because you got to think about it. Like, if you're in that spot, you're already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? So do you want to stay there, or do you want to move? So find these different things, find people to hang out with. We have social media, YouTube. I didn't have all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's so many tools. There's so many free challenges. You're always running challenges. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to keep doing these things and finding the right. To me, it's like, you got to keep changing your circle. Yep. Right? Because a lot of times, for me, right, when I kept using drugs, guess what? My circle used drugs. Right? They either used drugs or they bought drugs from me. That was my circle. Right? You know what I mean? Yeah. When I got rid of that, now my circle is all entrepreneurs. Guess what? I'm an entrepreneur. So, a lot of my circle is millionaires now, right? Now I'm looking like, where's the billionaire circle at, right? Because I want to level up to that level. So, listen, if I find it first, I'll get you in. Please. Vice versa. All right, deal?
I got you.
All right, we got a deal. We got a deal. It's on camera. So excited about that. But yeah, cool. It's you got to figure out how to level up. And sometimes it's, maybe it's some people at the gym, maybe, but like, find people trying to better themselves and get close to them, attach yourself to them, hang out with them. That's why I'm here.
It's good, man. It's good. Last question. What's the best next step for them to take to find a new circle?
I'm a fan of Facebook groups for sure. I've been using them. Not all of them, obviously, right? So if you're in a Facebook group and they're primary negative, that's probably not the one to be in. There's a zillion Facebook groups. Like I said, We Are Insurance Agents is definitely a good group, right? I mean, I'm biased, but I mod it very heavily to make sure. So that's one spot. Joining a mastermind, right? Power players would be a great thing to do for sure. Other masterminds as well. So it's just about like, how do you expand your circle, right? And you want to look at like, where are your people that you want to be like hanging out? Like, who do you want to trade places with, and where do they hang out, right? And that's where you go, right? So like, back before the internet, the library might have been a great place to hang out, right? Yeah. With people trying to better themselves.
A lot of knowledge
there. Yeah, bookstores and stuff like that. So you just got to figure out like, who is it that you want to be? What are you looking for? Like, who's doing that you can learn from, and how do you put yourself in that place? But then you can't just like be there and like not talk to anyone, right? So you got to talk to people, provide value, ask questions, be ready for feedback, right? Sometimes people don't like feedback, so you got to be ready for feedback, be open to it. And then the biggest thing too is, if you're going to ask someone for advice, first off, make sure the person you ask for advice, you would trade places with that person. But if that person takes the time to give you the advice, like, act on it. Right, do something with that advice, because a lot of times
that makes them feel good about giving it.
Yeah, when people ask me for advice, like I got someone that asks me questions all the time, and like, I've never heard like, hey, I did what you said and this happened, and like, when I see the question, I don't want to answer anymore, right? So it's like, if you're gonna ask for advice, do it for a reason. Be intentional.
It's good, man. It's so good. Yeah, because nothing frustrates me more than somebody comes up to an event and they're like, oh my gosh, dude, I what would you say for this? I have a question, and I'll give them the answer and they won't do it. Or they'll be like, "Dude, I have so many questions," but they'll never ask one. You know, like there's just, you can, or they're at a power player event, but they're sitting in the corner by themselves.
Guilty.
Right? Nah,
I know.
But like the people,
Yeah.
right? People, like you're talking about. If they want to learn more, what should they do? Where should they go? The Facebook group or?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, David Price Official. I restarted my YouTube channel, again, David Price Official. And then I'm hanging out in my Facebook group, trying to do some lives in there as much as possible. Cody's been a guest in there as well, and working on always having different guests every weekly. So that's We Are Insurance Agents. So come on, introduce yourself, right? Don't be quiet. Introduce yourself. And make sure you answer security questions, or else you're not gonna be allowed in, right? Because I'm modding the place. But come on in and let's have some fun. We're gonna be the fastest growing insurance group. Come soon.
I love it, dude. Thank you for all you do, and appreciate you being back on the podcast.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Okay, appreciate you, man. Also, appreciate you guys hanging with us as always. Okay, if you are listening and you're like, dude, I want to grow an agency. I want to be on the podcast. I want to travel the world with you guys and spend time in a freaking mansion in Arizona or wherever else we go. It is very. All you have to do is go to CodyAskins.com, click on Power Players, talk to our team, or send me an email, Cody@CodyAskins.com. You pay an initiation fee, and then you get to be a part of Power Players for life. Thanks for hanging with us. Appreciate David Price coming back on the podcast. Congrats on his recent success, last 85 days, crushing it. You guys are amazing. If you enjoyed this, let us know in comments below, and we will see you on the next one. Kaboom.